So I ended up last night at the very last stopping at the Democratic headquarters downtown. And guess what they told me?
What?
They had knocked on 10,000 doors? Nope. 20,000 doors? Nope. 30,000 doors. Can you believe it? That's outstanding. It's so much fun. It was so much fun talking to them and thanking them. So you see, we have a school bus behind us.
Yeah!
For a reason. Been doing this for 40-some years. Been on school buses also. But the interesting thing about being on a school bus, and for those of you who rode it when you were a kid, you know that the suspension isn't the greatest. So we hit every Scott hole in the state of Wisconsin. And we're going to start fixing those Scott holes. But I'll tell you, this has been just a joy to be on this ride all across the state. We're going to continue it for the next days, right up to the election. And I just want to start out with something about Green Bay, a conversation with you. UW Green Bay is on the ballot.
Yeah.
Think about it. Scott Walker took $250 million away from the University of Wisconsin system, which impacted this campus right here. And what happens then? Fewer professors, fewer courses, takes longer to graduate, and more student debt. That's perverse. That is perverse. Now, the good news is this. As governor, I get to appoint Board of Regent members, and just so happens that there are 5 going off this next April.
Woo!
And
Yeah!
because I will no longer be state superintendent, there's actually a 6th vacancy. So I get to appoint 6 new Board of Regent members that actually care about the University of Wisconsin. And I can't wait to do that. I cannot wait to do that. So we have to do this. This is important for UW Green Bay.
Are you here to volunteer?
Now, just talking about
Then you need to
education first. Clearly, Scott Walker did 2 things when he ran for governor. He decided to divide and conquer the state. And when he said that, he was saying, oh, by the way, teachers and other public employees, they're the enemy, and we're not. And as a result of that, several things have happened. Clearly, people left the profession, and young people are not going into the profession. If you live in Winter, Wisconsin, you might have a hard time getting a 2nd grade teacher. If you're a parent that has a 2nd grade kid, that's a problem. We need to change that. So we can start giving teachers more voice and giving them some ownership in the profession, making sure we continue to convince young people to become teachers. That's critically important. Now the money part, we can fix the next biennium. I put together a budget that we've put together that actually honors the profession, but also helps kids that need an extra lift. Those kids that may need mental health services, students with disabilities, young people that need after-school care. We're going to put together a $1.5 million budget. And the good news is this: in the past, when I've given that budget to Scott Walker, he essentially crumpled it up and threw it away. This time, I give it to myself as governor, and I turn it over to the good Democrats in the legislature, and we're going to change this. We're going to have a great change. Now, it is time. It's time for a change. Folks, it's time for a change. The other thing that I want to talk about is health care. I think all the candidates talked about this. I want to talk about it in terms of Scott Walker. Now, as you know, or maybe know, that 4 of his top lieutenants that he vetted and put into office in charge of large agencies. Now, these 4 people have come out and said the following things. Scott Walker is unfit for office, he lies, and he puts himself puts his political ambitions ahead of the people of Wisconsin.
Yes.
And that's exactly, could you imagine that? Donald Trump doesn't even have that happening to him, right? His people leave and they stay anonymous. These people come out and say, we're voting for Evers.
Yeah.
Awesome,
So what Walker did is he ran for president, right? And he spent $30 million in 6 weeks to get 0.5% of the vote. Laughable, right? But here's the perverse thing. As a result of him running, he's had to be against the Affordable Care Act. So he comes back to Wisconsin and pretends he's governor again. And then he sits there and says, you know, this $1.1 billion, that the federal government wants to give us to make sure that we have good health care, we're not going to take it because I'm against the Affordable Care Act. Good Lord, think of that. A political decision that he made cost the people of Wisconsin good health care. Folks, that's wrong. I don't care how you slice it. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. That's just crap. We're going to take that money and we're going to have a good, affordable, and accessible health care system. We have to. We own it. I'm also I'm a cancer survivor, and we have 2.4 million people in the state of Wisconsin that do have pre-existing conditions like that will lose those protections that exist under the Affordable Care Act because Scott Walker and Schimmel are in federal court saying, okay, take that away. At the same time, he's in Wisconsin saying, oh my gosh, we have to have these protections. Well, first of all, I get how politicians can talk out of both sides of their mouths, but Christ, he's doing it at the same time. How do you talk about this side and that side simultaneously? I don't know how that works. But my goal here as the governor is to make sure that we